Another day, another remarkable accomplishment for Caitlin Clark. With only 26 games in her professional career, she made WNBA and Indiana Fever franchise history on Wednesday. Once again, she has shown everyone why she is the clear frontrunner for the Rookie of the Year award. In the final game before the All-Star break, Clark became the fastest player in history to reach 400 points and 200 assists in a season. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Every game I watch her play, she produces a masterpiece, even in the games she doesn't win in the end. Clark is just the 9th player in WNBA history to reach 400 points and 200 assists in a season, but the first rookie. Likewise, she is only the second first-year player to have 200 assists. She scored 24 points on 10 of 19 shooting in Wednesday's 101-93 defeat to the Dallas Wings. But Clark was in her typical generous mood, paying out ridiculous dimes at unprecedented amounts. I mean, just take a look at some of these passes, absolutely insane. At this rate, we're expecting here to throw some behind-the-back passes every game. Clark finished with 19 assists on Wednesday, shattering both her personal club record and an all-time WNBA record. Furthermore, with 213 assists on the year, she has surpassed Erica Wheeler, 2023, for the most by a Fever player, rookie or not, in a single season. Let me remind you, this is in 26 games. She still has 14 to play after the break. But it isn't all sunshine. We have to be fair and state that Clark also holds the franchise's single-season turnover record, 145. However, being the go-to choice for scoring and facilitating lends itself to a huge number. I mean, every attack goes through her. Surely with those ridiculous and aggressive passes, she'll pick up turnovers. On a larger scale, Clark has demonstrated incredible adaptability at a level unprecedented in the WNBA. Before Wednesday, she was on track to become the only player in league history to average at least 16.8 points, 7.8 assists, 5.8 rebounds, and 1.5 steals. Clark has already accomplished several amazing exploits, including Wednesday's. But with 14 games remaining, there's still time to do even more. I mean, let's talk once more about that broke record, because that is absolutely ridiculous to do, and especially in your first season. Caitlin Clark broke the WNBA record with 19 assists against the Wings. Clark achieved the feat late in the fourth quarter by passing to teammate Kelsey Mitchell for a left-wing three-pointer. Courtney Vandersloot previously held the all-time record, recording 18 assists for the Chicago Sky versus the Fever in 2020. Patricia "Ticha" Nunes-Penicheiro of the former Sacramento Monarchs had held the record for nearly 2 decades. Pinheiro had 16 assists in a 1998 game against the now-defunct Cleveland Rockers. Clark ended with 24 points and 6 rebounds for a fairly well-rounded stat line. Clark entered play Wednesday averaging a WNBA high 7.8 assists per game this season and 8.2 assists per game over her 4-year collegiate career at Iowa. Thus, playmaking is an important component of her game. But 19 dimes in one game, in the WNBA even, that is even for Clark a new height. The number 1 overall pick, Clark overcame a rough start to her professional career and has since been doing various types of magic during games. On Wednesday, however, she passed like Magic Johnson and established an all-time WNBA record. What else can we say? Her brilliance is coming through big time. And now, after continuously playing since September 2023, she will have her first break during the Olympics. Which is good for her, but it makes me think, shouldn't she have been on the plane? I mean, hear me out, these stats are absolutely ridiculous. These will make Cheryl Reeve think twice the next time. In Caitlin Clark's rookie season, she has already done the following. Broken all-time WNBA single-game assist record with 19. Reached 400 points and 200 assists in a season faster than anyone else. Ranked 3rd by bookies for WNBA MVP in her rookie season. Most points scored or assisted so far amongst all players this season with 915 at the moment. Closest is Sabrina Ionescu with 850. Absolutely dominating if you ask me. She'll for sure be in the MVP debate by the end of the season. And to cap it off, she went into the break posting these scores in the game against the Wings. 24 points, 19 assists, 6 rebounds. Responsible for 66 points of Fever's 93, all-time high record in the WNBA. In this game, Caitlin Clark checked off 3 important boxes. 1. Clark overtook colleague Erica Wheeler for the most single-season assists in Fever history. 2. Clark established the all-time single-game rookie assists record. 3. Clark then passed 13-year veteran Courtney Vandersloot to capture the WNBA single-game assist record with 19. Despite 24 points and a career-high 28 points from Aaliyah Boston, the Fever came up short, which makes hitting that record taste sour. Before Clark could respond to what the WNBA milestone meant to her, Boston interjected and bantered, as she has done several times this season. "She's going to say it means nothing," Boston said afterward, "but I think it's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So, sorry." "I mean," Clark said, pausing, "I just try to set my teammates up for success. I think at times I can almost overpass, and that can maybe, I don't know. There probably could have been a few times where instead of passing that leads to a turnover that I may have, I can probably shoot the ball. I'm just looking to set Boston up so much. My eyes are always on our post players." By halftime, Clark had assisted on 5 of Boston's 7 points. The two nearly had another when Clark delivered a behind-the-back ball to Boston in traffic below the hoop. Boston got fouled but could not make the bucket fall. Boston seemed irritated. The Fever trailed by as much as 16 points before cutting the deficit to 8 at halftime. They ultimately lost by the same score. The Fever entered the Olympic break with a 4-3 record in their past 7 games. They were also turning a turnaround by defeating upper-half opponents in the 12-team standings. Indiana fought back at the Phoenix Mercury on the road, then did the same against the league's finest, the New York Liberty. However, 4 days later, the Washington Mystics, who were in last place, defeated the team at home. The Fever recovered, defeating the Mercury at home and the Minnesota Lynx on the road. Both teams were hampered by injury, but the Fever will take whatever victory they can get. Another disappointment came Wednesday night when they fell to the last-place Wings, who had only won 5 games previously. That's 4 solid wins and 2 awful losses, with the latest serving as the final send-off until mid-August. Due to the Olympic break, all teams are unable to play for around 30 days. The Fever are in 7th place with an 11-15 record. The top 8 teams make the playoffs. The Fever's grueling schedule to start the season certainly didn't help. "For me, it's kind of frustrating," Clark said. "I feel like we've left 2 games out there that are very winnable for us going into the break. The Mystics at home and then obviously this one. Then we've won other matchups that are really tough. I think that's the biggest area for our team to grow these last 14 games of the year. You can't leave these opportunities on the table. But you just use it as motivation," Clark added. So, what has been the source of the Fever's struggles against inferior teams? Clark referred to it in her reaction, but the Fever were unable to deliver 4 consecutive quarters against the Mystics and Wings. In both games, they started slowly, gave up too many points in the first half, and had to claw their way back. They were unable to do this both times. The Fever cannot win every game, but hopefully these defeats do not come back to haunt them. Clark also said that when play starts in August, they will be right on the postseason bubble. "Those 2 games, we just weren't who we were in those other games against top teams," Fever head coach Christy Side said afterward. "And it doesn't matter who you're playing night in or night out, you have to show up and play your game. But that's just growing, getting these experiences." The Fever will have off for the first week of Olympic break before practices resume. Let's go back to the Olympics for a second, because I genuinely can't believe Cheryl Reeve has decided to leave Caitlin Clark at home. Just look at all the broken records. And if that isn't enough, she is 3rd in the rankings to become the MVP according to the bookies. How or why wouldn't you want this generational on your team? And with Diana Taurasi returning from injury this week, it's pretty sure Caitlin won't be subbed in for her as well. How disappointing is that? What are your thoughts on Caitlin being at home for the Olympics? I would have loved seeing her tear it up on the biggest international stage there is. Sadly, enough will have to wait 4 more years. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.